Okay, everyone, we are now live on the internet.
We can't see you, Your Honor.
Oh, all right. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This is your first appearance hearing before the Magistrate Court of Clayton County. My name is Brad Gardner. I'm a judge in this court. I'm not here to conduct a trial of your case or to take a plea in your case. I'm here to inform you of the charges that have been filed against you, to advise you of certain rights, to set bail on those offenses that I'm authorized to set bail, to schedule a preliminary hearing, and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney. You have the right to remain silent and say nothing, but should you give up this right, anything you say during this proceeding may be used against you if your case goes to trial. So please don't discuss the facts of your case. During this and all other proceedings, you have the following rights: the right to the presumption of innocence, the right to indictment by a grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors, the right to a speedy and public trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you, the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf, the right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense, the right to have an attorney represent you. If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify. Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds for your release from jail. These bonds may be posted by cash, commercial, or property. If you post a cash bond, someone will deliver the full amount of the bond and fees in cash to the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office will hold the cash and return it at the end of the case. If you use a commercial bonding company, someone will have to pay a fee to the company for their service. The fee will not be returned. I don't know what fee will be charged, but it is usually based upon a percentage of the bond. Finally, if you use property to post a bond, the property would need to have a net equity at least three times the total amount of the bond. Some of you will have special conditions on your bond that prohibit you from contacting certain people or going to certain places. This special condition will be provided to you on a separate form. You will also be prohibited from contacting the victim while you are in jail. If you violate the court's order, your bond will be revoked and you could remain in jail until your trial. You could also receive additional felony charges. It is important to note that if someone is listed as a victim in your case, that person will not be allowed to post your bond. Some of you are charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized by law to set bail. In this event, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a judge of the Superior Court, and you will be informed of that date. If you are currently on active probation, this court is not authorized to set bond at this time. Where the bond is appropriate in your case will be reconsidered after your probation officer has had an opportunity to consider this new arrest. The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to support the allegations against you. The standard at this stage is very low. A judge determining whether a charge goes forward at this stage only has to determine that it is possible that the crime has occurred. Everyone has the ability to waive their right to a preliminary hearing. However, you should speak to a lawyer first if you are unsure about whether it is appropriate to waive your preliminary hearing. If you post bond, your preliminary hearing is automatically waived. You will receive notice at the address you give of your next court date. Lastly, I need everyone to raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm any statements you make during this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God? Okay, let's start with the ladies.
Hey, Deputy Lee. Oh, never mind, you did it. First is Miss Cruz. No, Miss Crane.
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 Yes, Miss Crane.
Crane. Crane. Come on, you first.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. You're charged with one count of criminal trespass, damage to property. This being is written as a misdemeanor. You have a bond set at $3,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes.
There's going to be a stay away provision on this bond to stay away from Rhonda Crane. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for August 10th, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, ma'am, it looks like you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
Okay, ma'am, you're free to go back.
Next is Miss Quavis.
Ma'am, you're charged with 2 counts of violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, 1 count of driving on a suspended license, and 1 count of improper turn. I'm going to set a total bond. Let me see. Of $7,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, not maybe not cash, but
With the bonding company? Okay. Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for August 11th because the 2 drug charges are felony offenses. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
please.
Okay. Okay, ma'am, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, not,
Okay. Okay, you're free to go back, ma'am.
thank you.
Next is Miss Frazier.
Ms. Frazier, you're charged with 1 count of simple battery. Bond is going to be set at $3,000. Do you believe you can post that bond? Okay. There's going to be a stay away provision on the bond, and I apologize if I butchered your name, but it looks like it was Rakian Anderson. Do you understand that? Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for August 10th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Please, thank you.
I'm sorry?
Please and thank you.
Okay. All right. You do qualify, ma'am. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No.
Okay, ma'am. You're free to go back.
All right.
Next is Miss Murray.
Ms. Murray, ma'am, you're charged with 1 count of family violence battery, 1 count of criminal damage to property in the 2nd degree, and 1 count of obstructing an officer. I've set a total bond at $12,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes.
There's going to be a stay away provision on this bond to stay away from a Scott Tolbert Jr. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for August 11th at 8:30 in the morning, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you will get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, please.
Okay. I think I may have misplaced your form. Are you currently working, ma'am?
Not right now.
Okay. So you do qualify for the appointment of a lawyer. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No.
Okay. All right, ma'am. You're free to go back.
Next is Ms. Sessoms.
Miss Sessoms, how are you doing, ma'am?
I'm good.
We've been trying to get you on this calendar for 2 days now.
Mhm.
So I'm glad to see you. You're going to have a bond set, total bond set at $5,000 for the criminal trespass and obstructing an officer charges. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yeah.
Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for August 11th. I'm sorry, August 10th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm pulling out your paperwork. You do qualify, ma'am. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, ma'am. You're free to go back.
That's it for the female, John.
All right. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You as well, sir.
All right. Let's switch over to the male side. All right. Mr. Armor.
Armor?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Armor. Do you know what you're charged with, sir?
Yes, I do.
I'm sorry, sir.
Yes, I do.
I cannot set bond for these offenses at this time, and it's a statutory thing. I did set bond on a battery, which is a misdemeanor at $5,000. I've set a preliminary hearing date for August 11th at 8:30 in the morning. I've also set a bond hearing date for August 13th at 8:30 in the morning. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
How much do you make per hour?
I work for myself, so it's not like something I could really count.
Okay. I'm going to find that you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
Okay. You're free to go back.
Brown? Go back to you. What did it pop on? Yeah, go back.
Mr. Brown, sir, you've been charged with simple battery and obstructing or hindering a law enforcement officer. I've set a total bond of $5,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for August 10th at 8:30 in the morning, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? I'm sorry, sir.
I said yes, sir.
All right. Let's see. You do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
All right. You're free to go back.
Brother? How much did this equal? 5,000. Y'all move down. All right, move down.
I'm sorry. Tell me your name, sir.
Anthony Berber.
Berber. Okay. Mr. Berber, you've been charged with one count of trafficking marijuana. And I think there were two other gentlemen that were arrested with you. I cannot set bond for this offense at this time. I've set a preliminary hearing date for August 11th at 8:30 in the morning. I've also set a bond hearing date for August 13th. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me, Mr. Berber?
No, that's not.
Okay. You're free to go back, sir.
The Boykin.
Mr. Borkin, sir, you've been charged with one count of simple battery, one count of obstructing an officer, one count of simple assault, and one count of disorderly conduct. I've set a total bond at $7,500. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for August 10th at 8:30 in the morning, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
You do qualify, Mr. Boykin. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me, sir?
Nothing.
Okay, you're free to go back.
The coin. Okay. Yes, go back.
Mr. Cohen, sir, you've been charged with one count of giving a false name, address, or date of birth, and one count of driving on a suspended license. Your total bond is going to be set at $2,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes.
Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for August 10th at 8:30 in the morning, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Sir.
I'm sorry?
No.
Okay. You're going to hire your own lawyer?
No, I'm just gonna keep you.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me, Mr. Cohen? I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, I do not.
Okay, sir, you're free to go back.
Johnson.
No, hold on. One moment, Your Honor.
No problem.
Whose name is Cuevas.
The next person I have is Johnson Lajavius.
Yeah, that's me, sir.
All right, Mr. Johnson. You're charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and aggravated stalking. I cannot set.
No. It's because that she hit my friend's car with her car. So it was it. And I was trying to. I had.
Mr. Johnson, this is being recorded and is going to the internet. The allegations are all I'm telling you. Okay, it's not the truth. These are allegations.
Yeah, I was like,
Mr. Johnson. Is the screen frozen or he's just looking off to the side? I did not understand any of that.
You can hear it now, yeah?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool.
Mr. Johnson, you are charged with serious offenses. The first person and really the only person that you should be speaking to about the facts of the case are your lawyer. As a judge, you can tell me that she or you are an angel of God, I still can't set you bond on aggravated stalking. If there's a problem, if there's a defect, if there's anything wrong with this case, your lawyer is the person that you should be speaking to, because a lawyer is the person that can get you out of jail. Okay?
Yes, sir, but she lying. She's a lying.
Um, how old are you, Mr. Johnson?
I'm 20, and she trying to stop me from seeing my child.
Mr. Johnson, it was one question. How old are you? It wasn't but blah, blah, blah. Okay? And I like to tell people I have a very small brain. I can't take in a whole bunch of information. I can't take in the I can't take that in. So everything has to be slowed down for me. I'm the consumer of the information in this conversation, right? So I need you to understand that you may be a high functioning person, but I'm way down in the grass. So you got to talk slow and direct and got to respond to my questions. Are we on the same page, sir?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Johnson, I don't, hopefully you've noticed everything that I've said is sir or ma'am, because you are a person that is deserving of respect, as am I. So I'll give you respect, and I desire that you give me respect so we can have a conversation.
Yes, sir.
The charges that you are charged with may totally be 100% false. The bonds that I set for people are bonds that I set so that people can get out of jail. You've not heard me tell one person that they don't qualify for a lawyer, because people are accused of things every day that they don't do. That's why they're allegations. Right now, because of the way the law works, it doesn't matter if you're guilty or innocent of this charge. I cannot set bond at this stage. I can appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you want me to do that?
Yes.
You qualify, I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Your lawyer, after speaking to you, can go to the district attorney's office with proof and evidence that this person is not being truthful. And the district attorney's office, depending upon the strength of the evidence, may say, you're right. You know what? We're going to consent to a bond for Mr. Johnson so he can get out of jail, because what's being done to him right now is wrong. But those are the properly ordered steps. Do you understand that, sir? So I'm appointing a lawyer to represent you. I'm setting a preliminary hearing date for August 11th. I'm setting a bond hearing date for August 13th. But you don't have to sit in jail until August 13th. Based upon the strength and the evidence of the case, that you have that conversation with your lawyer, if it is overwhelmingly beneficial to you, your lawyer most likely will get the district attorney to see that. If it's a he said, she said kind of deal, it may not end up in a consent bond. But, sir, you're a young person, and I need you to understand this, just man to man, moving forward in life. Don't don't hang around people that are going to make false allegations against you, because it's going to end up with your being in jail when that person gets mad at you. So are we clear?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Is there anything else, Mr. Johnson, you want to tell me?
You think I'll be talking to my lawyer today?
Unfortunately not. I don't work in their office, so I don't know when they come down or when anyone comes down or that. Um, your best bet is to hire a lawyer that you put money in that person's pocket and you can call them and they pick up the phone and they answer. You may or may not be in that financial situation. I don't know. And it's a sad thing to be in that position and to be in that state. And I get it. But I'm just trying to be real with you.
I'm trying to figure out like, so if I said it, so you saying I ain't gonna be in here till August, or like I'm gonna talk to somebody before then. Like
You
I ain't, I ain't never been in this position.
oh, and I'll say this. In um a world that works where everything works the way it's supposed to work, um, you would have a lawyer today that is talking to you. Um, we don't live in that world. So when I appoint you a lawyer, I'm appointing somebody that can represent you, but I don't know, like I said, because I don't work in that office and I can't, I don't manage the office. I don't decide what happens. Um, your guarantee of a lawyer doesn't guarantee you a date that the lawyer comes to see you. Hiring a lawyer guarantees you a date that the lawyer comes out to the jail and speaks to you, because you paid that lawyer. And if that lawyer doesn't perform, you have a right to demand that money back. So, to the extent that you're telling me that these allegations are false, um, in my estimation, your best bet is to hire a lawyer. If you can't hire a lawyer, justice will work, but it may not work in a manner that keeps you from sitting in the Clayton County Jail.
All right, so I'm trying to figure out like, do I need to go ahead and hire my own lawyer or your lawyer?
I mean, I've given you my kind of interpretation of it, and I'm taking this time with you, Mr. Johnson, because you seem like a perfectly um, I was going to use the word lovely, but you seem like a person that I should spend time to have this conversation with you. But with the aggravated stalking, I just cannot. I would be in jail if I set bond on aggravated stalking for you, because I would be violating the law.
Yes, I understand that. Well, like if if I get like see the thing is with that, like when I had got out February 2nd, got out of jail February 2nd. I think you told me like stay away from Rodeo Joseph. Rodeo Joseph, that's the mom, which stays in New York. So I didn't like, you know what I'm saying? I'm making sure the coast clear. And I went back to try to get my clothes and belongings with a friend, And my baby mama didn't like that, so she tried to block us in and call the police and stuff like that. So she just upset, saying I'm, you know what I'm saying, because I tried to get my clothes. She said I'm stalking her because we got a child together that she trying to keep me in jail away from. So I'm not no stalker because I used to live at 5 Greenwood Drive, but I moved because you told me to stay away from the mall.
Right.
So when I went back and go get my stuff and she seen who I ride with, then when she flipped out.
Did you make arrangements with the sheriff's department to go back?
Yeah, I did, but it seemed like she called him first. You know what I'm saying? When I called them up to the beginning of the neighborhood. But when they arrived to the house. And you told me to stay away, and I ain't want to be at the house if the mom was there. But
Right. There was a lady who was in a similar situation to you, and she called the police department to try to make arrangements. And there was an officer that came. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and the person um, didn't like the fact that it was 6 o'clock in the morning they were there. So the person called and got a aggravated stalking, and I was like, ma'am, I can't set you bond. But because she had gone back with the police department, the district attorney dropped all of the charges and was like, I can't, I'm not gonna prosecute this.
yeah, our officer, I had talked to our officer actually earlier when he had arrived at the beginning of the neighborhood, and he was like, get some weekend visitation because it all started about my son. You see what I'm saying?
There, Mr. Johnson, what I'll say to you is this, and I can't like hold up everybody else. Um, it appears as though you're trying to do things the right way, but you didn't. And there are consequences to actions, and I think too often, um, I'm kind of old. I got like gray on my beard, but I'm actually like 21 years old. Now I'm almost 50 years old now. And the younger people that I see, they just believe they can do whatever they want to do, whenever they want to do it, and everything will just work out. And you may be in that situation where it's like you didn't you didn't do anything, as they would say, committing a crime. You didn't go over to try to harass or whatever, but the manner in which you chose to go about these things got you caught up in a situation where you're charged with an offense that I can't set bond on. And because of the COVID and everything else, I try to set bonds and stuff so people can get out, because I care about the I care about you, and I care about the people that are there working at the jail. And I don't want them sitting there with things are being prolonged, and they got whole COVID situation where people are going to work and at the jail, and they're having to deal with people being sick. So I set bonds to get people out of jail and move things on. You're in a situation right now. Your best bet um, to have this stuff move along as quickly as possible is to hire a lawyer. And it's a tax, and I understand that. I can't call the district attorney's office and force them to come down and speak to Mr. Johnson, because I take pity on him. I just can't do that. Um, but maybe this is money, well spent, that you won't place yourself in this situation in the future. Okay.
sir,
All right, sir. You're free to go back.
All right.
Mr. Jones?
Mr. Jones, you're charged with theft by shoplifting and obstructing an officer. I've set a total bond of $4,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for August 10th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
How much do you make per hour?
I don't have a job at the moment.
Okay. All right. Well, you do qualify, sir. Looks like on your form that you checked that you did have a job, and that's why I was asking.
Yeah, see, since I've been locked up, I think I've probably been fired because I was supposed to be at work.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me, Mr. Jones?
You know, so.
Okay, sir. You're free to go back.
Mr. Medina?
Mr. Medina, I think you're a co-defendant to the other person I saw earlier. I cannot set bond on trafficking marijuana at this stage. I've set a preliminary hearing date for August 11th. I've also set a bond hearing date for August 13th. Do you have any questions for me?
Okay.
Okay, sir. Well, let me ask you this. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay, you do qualify, sir. We're going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. All right, you're free to go back.
Mr. Mims?
Mims. Mims.
No. We're in a different world.
Oh. Oh.
Hey, sir.
Go back to.
How are you, Mr. Mims? Sir, you're charged with driving on a suspended license, driving a moped in public without a license, and not having eye protection while riding, and it says motorcycle.
Yes.
I'm gonna dismiss the not having eye protection charge. So you're gonna have a total bond set at $2,000. You believe you can post that bond?
I got $129. I've never made a bond.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mims.
I got $129 on my books. I haven't never actually posted a bond for.
Okay. So, I'll tell you what, Mr. Mims, I'm gonna dismiss the basically operating a moped without a license charge also. So that'll leave you with a total bond of $1,500. What that means is that if you go through a bonding company, you're gonna pay about 10% of the $1,500. It may be more, maybe less. I don't work for them, so I can't say that. This is a type of charge, in my opinion, that you should have been issued a citation and go about your way. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for August 10th at 8:30 in the morning. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is there any way I can call somebody to get it on?
Hey.
Hold on one second, Miss Mims. You do qualify for the appointment of lawyer. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. And I say hold on because, like I said before, I have a very small brain and I gotta like focus on one thing at one time. So what's your question, sir?
Is there any way I could, call somebody to ask them if they'll go a bond for me or?
Yes, the sheriff's department has a list of bonding companies that are authorized to write bonds in this county, and they will give you.
Out of my phone,
I'm sorry.
out of my phone.
I'll talk to him so you can get your numbers. I got you.
Okay. Okay. All right. Did you hear that, Mr. Mims? Is there anything else, sir?
I got you. I'll get your numbers.
Sir,
Okay. All right, sir. You're free to go back.
All right, go on. Hey, oh.
2 judges.
Thank you.
You got one charge. Y'all must spend like, have a seat in the back.
Mr. Murray.
Mr. Murray, you're charged with violating a family violence order that was issued by Judge Garrett.
Yes, sir.
And I can't set bond on this.
Why is that, sir?
It's essentially a contempt of order. And that's a short answer. The long answer is that this is something that is honestly going to have to go back before Judge Garrett. Judges get real kind of territorial when they tell somebody not to do something and they do it anyway. And so you're kind of in that boat.
I mean, I'm just asking, I'm gonna ask you a question about that, about the bond though, but why, I mean, sure enough, it's misdemeanor though. You understand what I'm saying? This is misdemeanor.
I do. And this falls into the category of the misdemeanors that I can't set bond for.
So so they could be moved up to aggravated stalking? That's what I'm basically want to know, since you can't set a bond.
Honestly, that's what they should have charged you with. But this is.
Officer Cox said.
I'm sorry.
No, you can go ahead, Chief. I'm just listening to you.
So yes. Just so you know, Mr. Murray, I look at the allegations and I got to make decisions. There are things that have been taken out of my hands by the legislature, and there are things that are within my control. And these types of offenses have been taken out of my control because most often when a person violates these orders, is they're coming over to kill somebody. Do you think not?
No.
Is that because of you or because of what you know about the statistics?
You know, Judge, I ain't, the thing, this is the thing, you know. When you put two people together and this person opens up the door or this person ends up, y'all both still live together, all type of things like that. And like you say earlier, when a person gets mad, boom, they call the police, you know. But I always feel that, you know, that the person from the violation, you know, the person ought to get in trouble also about that situation, you know.
All right, I'm going to ask you to kind of like complete your sentences.
Okay. What I'm saying is that the woman is supposed to be violated on the situation also because of the person, both of those people were still living together. The clothes were still living together. The police officer brings out the clothes. It's not fair, it's not right, because of a person gets mad about a car. That ain't growing up. That's not being a person. That person ought to be woman enough to just be honest instead of messing somebody's life up. I'm not that type of person. That's just basically what it is. I'm not gonna be up here trying to tell you the whole story about what's going on because it's already in the report. But what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And I'm just gonna be honest with you.
No, you're right. And Mr. Murray, you're a couple years younger than I am. And remember the parable? I think it's like the scorpion
Yes.
and the what is it, alligator or the scorpion or something, and going across the river. It's an African parable, and the scorpion stings the person in the back or the whatever it is. I would say let's say alligator stings it in the back halfway through, and they both drown. And as they're going down, and it's like, why did you do this? I was carrying you across, and it's like, my nature.
Yeah.
If that's a type of woman that you chose to be with, and she's a scorpion and she stung you in the back.
You're right. You're right, Judge. I mean, I'm a grown man about this whole situation. The thing about it I want to ask you though is just one little thing, and I'm gonna go ahead and do my time. Um, Mr. Mitchell, what's his name? The judge, Judge Mitchell.
Garrett, Michael Garrett.
Okay, Judge Garrett. Now, I want to ask you a question. When the police officer he showed me the order, and when he showed me the order of basically of my order of not being having no contact, it said that they can revoke the rest of the time. Okay, and that was just they only gave me a year because I did 90 days. So they gave me a year, and I got out February 3rd. So that means that I wasn't supposed to go around her for until December the 10th. But when I seen the order, the order said that either I could be bonded out or I can be revoked. It can be revoked. My time can be revoked. You see what I'm saying? But why did I get charged for aggravated assault? I mean, aggravated stalking. I don't want to know. I just want to know will I be able? I will be getting when I go in front of him. Can he up the charges to aggravated stalking? Because I'm here on something else.
Well, yes, the prosecutor can up the charges, and I'll tell you, it's I don't have sympathy or empathy for what you're telling me because I've had clients. I've been a criminal defense lawyer for more than 20 years, and I've had clients who the first thing that their girlfriends, because it was most often girlfriends, loved was that they were on probation. And what that meant is, you don't want me to call your probation officer. You better go. You better go out there and cut that grass. You don't want me to call a probation officer. You better go take my sister and her 5 kids to the Six Flags, because you don't want me to call a probation officer and say that you hit me. And all I'm saying to you, sir, is that the way that I would describe it to my clients, and I would describe it to you, is that you're placing your head in the lion's mouth with the hope and a wish that the lion doesn't shut their mouth. And it seems like that's what you're describing to me. Is anybody worth that?
No, not at all. I just take it like a man. Then, I mean, it is what it was. I just want to know, but they can up the charges to aggravated stalking, or what can it, or can I just get it
Uh,
revoked?
They, they can. I'll tell you what, Miss Murray. And again, I've been like wasting people's time with some of these conversations, but I am going to look into this. Um, and if I can set a bond, I'll set you a bond. Um, I don't believe I can, but if I can, I will. Um, I'm setting a preliminary hearing date for August 11th. I'm setting a bond hearing date for August 13th. I've appointed you a lawyer, unless you choose to hire your own lawyer. I'm not anybody's enemy on this whole thing. I'm here to move the process along. And so, and I'll say this, Mr. Murray. Are you from up north?
Yes, sir.
Um, Things move a lot slower down here, but if somebody's coming to get you, they gonna get you. They gonna bury you. I mean, it's like I know, like I have several friends from New York, and they talk about New York and talk about this, talk about that, and it's like until you've had somebody run up in your house in the midnight with a white sheet on, and they take everybody out and burn everything down, you really don't understand how things work. And so I would just say to you, sir, the person that you are dealing with, that should be in the rear view mirror.
Yeah, it is. I just, when you do look into it, how will I be able to find out that I do have a bond, and if you're able to get me?
I'm gonna look at it like when we're done. And that's why I was saying it's like I'm not gonna belabor the point because I'm gonna look into it and look into your situation offline. But there's other people here, and the deputies are there and they're working, and I'm not gonna try to, well, not try, but it's like I'm not gonna hold them up
Yes, sir.
while I look into this.
Do I
Because
need to stay here while you finish this?
I'm sorry.
Do I need to stay here while you finish everybody else after the fact and then talk with me?
No, because what happens is you've seen me moving around. I'm doing paperwork and stuff. And when we're done with all of these here with everybody, I do the paperwork and send it back. And so the people at the sheriff's department, they process the stuff and they put it in. So they will know. Um, and if, well, let me say this, and it'll be conditional. Um, if if I'm setting a bond, your bond is going to be set at $10,000, and there's going to be a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from.
That's
I think it
cool.
was Kalisha Green.
Yes.
It's going to be a stay away provision to stay away from her. So if you're trying to bond out, you can call any bonding company that's authorized to write bonds here, and they're hooked into the system, so they'll know if it's there or not. But I'm telling you, you've asked me to look into it. I'm going to look into the whole thing. I'm going to look into the other case. I'm going to look into all of that stuff before I make a decision, because I'm not just sitting here, um, just you know, I take my job seriously, and what that means is I take my duty to you seriously, and I take my duty to the law seriously, and I take my duty to the public and public safety seriously, and I take them all at the same level. So I'm not here. I honestly, I don't know you.
Right.
I don't care about you. I care about my duty to you,
That is correct.
if that means anything.
It means a lot. It really means a lot.
So that's what I'm gonna look into.
Okay.
All right. All right, sir. You're free to go back.
Mr. Nevels? Yeah.
No, buddy.
Hey, come over right here. Come on. Back up a little bit.
Mr. Nevels, you've been charged with 2 counts of obstructing an officer, 2 counts of battery. I've set your total bond at $14,000. You believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir.
Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for August 10th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? I'm sorry, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
You talk to.
I talked to you, you said, you said,
Do you have any questions for the judge? Yes or no?
oh, right, so you said 14,000, I gotta do a bill?
2,000 for the obstruction, 5,000 for the battery,
Okay.
14,000.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Have a nice day.
you're free to go back.
Mr. Amanudu?
Morning, Your Honor.
We're now into afternoon, and I do apologize for you that have been waiting for this time period. But sir, you've been charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. I've set a bond of $3,000. Do you believe you can post that bond? Is it frozen? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm sorry. Did you hear the $3,000 bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. There's gonna be a stay away provision on the bond, though, to stay away from a Janice. And is it on you menu?
My wife, Your Honor. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for August 10th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you will get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. You do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, Your Honor. We're married, and we have a child, and all my things are there. She moved from Kansas with me here to Atlanta. She's been living with me for like a month now. So how do I do this? Because she's at the house with her children now. Do I just call a cop to help me get some of my things? I don't know how we're supposed to do this.
As you're going through the bonding process, you need to make arrangements with the sheriff's department
Yes, Your Honor.
for someone to come to your house, so that you can get your things
Yes, Your Honor.
and then leave and move temporarily. Now, what I say to people is, I don't know what happened. I mean, I know the allegations I don't know if this was like just it was just another Saturday night,
I
or if it's just like this was something that things just got out of hand.
it
If
was
you're
our anniversary, and it got out of hand. It was really ridiculous, but it was an anniversary. It was an attack on marriage, but I take full responsibility to to.
don't take responsibility for
I mean, not full
nothing.
responsibility.
Do not. I mean, and when I say that, I'm like, you need to speak to a lawyer.
Yes, Your Honor.
So because of the facts, because I don't know.
Okay.
So don't be on YouTube
I'm
saying one thing or another, and just hear me out. Um, if this was something that got out of hand, your wife can call the solicitor's office, and she can tell them that she's not afraid of you, and she has no fear, and they will look into it, and they will say, you know what, we're going to change his bond condition. They'll either remove it, or I would say asked to remove it, because the judge has to sign off on it. They'll ask to remove it, or they will say, let's make it no violent contact or whatever. And the judge will sign off on it, because we don't care. I'm not trying to move people out of their house. And this first time I've met you, I've never met your wife. I don't know that kind of situation where I can make those determinations today.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that can happen, and you can be back in your home. Okay. But just kind of use this as a learning experience, and that you never have to go before a judge again in your life. Okay. Is there anything else, sir?
Yeah, last two things. Being that she was here, more likely she's going to go to Kansas City because she was charged as well. But because so the kids wouldn't go in defects, they just brought her down and fingerprint her and took her back to the house. So she was charged with the same charge. But more likely, she always want to go back to Kansas because that's where her mother and everyone's is. So if she go back, am I allowed to go in the house if she leaves back to Kansas City, or there's still no?
Yes, the stay away provision is not related to the house.
Okay.
It's related to her.
Thank you.
So that's the, and that's the, and I'm for, I mean, that's the thing. And it's like, as as a judge, we don't have adequate tools to police adults.
Yes, Your Honor.
So the tools that we have before us are really not adequate, as it relates to that. And to be quite honest, adults should never have, I, as a adults, you and your wife, you should never have me making decisions about your life and your children or police officers. And so that's something that my wife and we've had that conversation a lot. I mean, we've been married 19 years, and it's like how mad that I've been at her and how mad that she's been at me. And we've never had the police at our house. And I don't know. I mean, I just I'm just paid to be here, but I don't know. I mean, there's and she's never done. When I say mad, it's like mad. Like I'm upset. It's not like, why are you punching me? Why are you stabbing me? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? I'm not throwing her property out the window. I'm not throwing her phone, cell phone, whatever. If I gotta check my wife's cell phone, I don't need to be married to her.
Mhm.
I mean, that's I gotta go looking up her emails and all that stuff. I don't need to be with her.
Sorry.
So, I mean, she could be out there doing whatever she's doing. And to be honest with you, let's say she's out there thotting it up, as they say in today's vernacular. The way she treats me is fine. And the way she treats our children are fine. So, uh, uh, so I'm just saying, sir. Um, the stay away provision relates to your wife and not you. And if she's not in the home, you're perfectly welcome to go back to the home. Um, if you're at the home and she shows up, you should leave
Yes, Your Honor.
and you should not say anything to her other than, hey, wife, how are you doing? Hope you're having a great day. I have to leave. All right. Free to
Thank
go
you.
back, sir.
Thank you for your time. One last thing. I work
Yes,
for
sir.
Delta Airlines. I work for
I'm sorry.
I work for Delta Airlines, so she fly free with me, so I would have to book the flight. So how would I would talk to the officer, the officer talk to her to get her information? I just want to make sure I'm doing everything correctly, so there will be no issues.
So if she contacts you, you are not contacting her.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
But to your if you answer the phone, it needs to be the sweetest phone call that you've ever had in your life.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Parks?
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Parks. You've been charged with one count of criminal damage to property in the second degree. It's been written up as a felony. You're gonna have a bond set at $5,000. You believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir, I can.
There's gonna be a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from an Ardella or Ardelia Brown. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for August 11th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, so you said it was 5,000?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, you're free to go back.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Perez Campos?
Good afternoon, sir. I think you're the third person in this trifecta related to this trafficking in a marijuana charge. I cannot set bond. So you're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for August 11th at 8:30 in the morning. You're going to also have a bond hearing date set for August 13th at 8:30 in the morning. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? All right, you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, sir, you're free to go back.
What's that stuff there? Tell your name?
Rattery.
Mr. Rhetoric.
Okay. Let me see. Man, he got lost somewhere. Hold on. Stay right there, sir. All right. I think you're the add-on. You're charged with possession of crystal meth, drug-related objects, tail lights, and no insurance. Tail lights are going to be at $500, no insurance, $1,000. Drug-related objects, $1,500. And crystal meth, it looks like a personal use amount, so that bond is going to be set at $3,000. So I'm sorry. Let me add that up. So you're gonna have a total bond of $6,000. You believe you can post that bond? Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for August 11th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. You do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, you're free to go back.
So Ryan Smith.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, sir. You're charged with one count of obstructing an officer. I set the bond at $2,000. You believe you can post that bond? You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for August 10th at 8:30 in the morning. The date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Absolutely.
All right, you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
I'm sorry. Thank you.
All right, you're free to go back.
Mr. Triplett.
Did Mr. Bastine Smith bond out?
Who had been yet? Oh, they did futures from there to.
Wow.
Did Mr. Bastine Smith bond out?
Yes, sir, he did.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I just got to keep my accounting stuff over here going. Mr. Triplett, sir, you charge one count of loitering and prowling bonds instead of $1,000. You believe you can post that bond? There's going to be a preliminary hearing date set for August 10th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out. You'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you?
Hey, Judge.
That was some crazy stuff. My Apple Watch has been, well, I mean, between my Apple Watch and Siri, I don't know which one's doing it, but they've been doing some crazy stuff.
Technology.
Yeah, so I think that started playing for my watch. Well, and the truthful part is I don't know how to operate half this stuff. Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for August 10th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of lawyer?
I might get a public.
I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Hey.
Did he say yes?
Yes, he did, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, sir, you're a little bit above the cutoff, but I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
It's just 1,000.
Yes, sir. All right, you're free to go back.
Okay, Your Honor, this is the one that I asked you about earlier. Come on.
What is it, Kiska?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kiska. You've been charged with simple assault, obstruction, and criminal trespass. I'm going to set your total bond at $8,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir.
Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for August 10th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Are you currently working?
No, sir.
All right, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, sir. My father and my girlfriend have been working on this for a while, and there's actually a bond already set. They were waiting for paperwork from you because it's been, I think, 2 weeks or something, and they were just waiting for the paperwork. But two of the charges seem to have, I don't know if they got dropped, but my bond was about, I think, 1,500. This paperwork that I believe you have.
Have you appeared before me?
No, I was the reason that all of this happened is that I was actually close to stroking out. I was in the ICU for 6 days, and that's why I missed my court date on the 15th.
Right. And I think I like actually set bond because I start this stuff at 7 o'clock in the morning going through the paperwork. So I think I actually set bond for you.
Yes, and they said that I could not, for some reason, I was not able to bond out. I guess because I hadn't seen you or it was not a
Right. Right. These are offenses that you have to go before a judge. Um, Tell me that date again.
It was, I came here on June the 13th. I was immediately rushed to the ICU that same day. June 15th was my court date, and I was not able to make it because I was in the ICU. But since then, my girlfriend and father have been making strides, and it seems like the bond was actually lowered to, I believe, I think it was 3,000 or 1,500 because he sent over the documentation from the doctor and also gave a signed statement. He was the one that was the assault.
Mm.
Like I said, I wasn't in the right mind. I was actually close to stroking out.
No. That's fine. Let's see. If it was on, let's see, 14. All right. So I generally handle first appearance Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. On last week, I covered for a judge on the 16th for doing the dispossessory calendar. So I was not sitting on the 15th or 16th. I did sit on the 14th and I sat on the 17th and 18th. Are you sure about those dates?
Yes, sir. They said that I was supposed to be here on the 15th. I came on the 13th and
No. I was saying about you said you appeared before me.
oh no, I did not. I have never appeared
Okay.
in front of anyone. But what I do know is that he's talking to the solicitor. He's talked to a lot of people, and they managed to get the bond down actually to I think 3,000 or 1,500. That's just what I just talked to him about right now, just about an hour ago. So
No. Hold on. I'm looking. I just so you know, I believe.
mhm.
So there are people that are in the sheriff's office and um the people who actually deal with the paperwork when it comes back, and I'm being told that you were given a continuance twice but was not added and no bond was ever set.
Yeah, I've been trying to see the judge, and I've been asking many times, but each time they say that I'm not in the system.
Oh,
Or that I,
sir, I you told me there's a bond set.
what I'm saying is that I haven't appeared in front of any judge, and they said that I have.
Uh, Sir, did you, is it true or not that you said that there was a bond set that was lower?
Yes, it was 7,000 at first, and then it went down from 7,000 all the way to I think 3,000 or 1,500.
Who set the bond?
I am not sure. I didn't, they didn't post it or anything like that. They said that I have to appear. I've been calling the bonding company. Well, my people have been calling the bonding company, and they said that I have to appear. There's something that's holding it, or there's some reason I can't, be bonded out.
So, sir, first, tell me how to pronounce your last name.
Yes, it's Kasaka.
Kisaka?
Hmm.
Okay, Mr. Kisaka, because I believe in giving people due respect as it relates to their name. I need you to be precise, okay?
Okay.
Because as a judge, if I ask you, were you at a certain location on a certain day, and you say, nope, I wasn't there, I wasn't there, and then you later say, well, I was there, but I didn't step on the property. It's like, okay, I don't believe anything you tell me after that.
Okay.
When I first question is, was you there?
Okay.
Do you have a bond set? Yes or no?
Yes, I did. On the website, and my girlfriend and my father both said that I did.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm being asked to contact the sheriff's department because they're on this call too. So give me 1 second and we're gonna figure this out. Okay, sir?
Would
All
you like
right.
to know, or-
Yes.
Okay.
Deputy. She's here right here, all day today. And by tomorrow, and tomorrow. About Sunday. Just wait. You sign all these copies here, or? Yeah, but after the judge, right? What about her? No, her, I mean, not her. Actually, I gotta go see him today. There's one thing keep running through my mind when he told me this morning, custodian. I'm hoping that it's not that. That make a world of a difference with me. Right. Yeah. I'm about some of the tickets. And what? I'm about some of the tickets. So, but the thing is bounced, the amount thing. Oh, yeah, you need to. It's gonna be. I think there's seven more lines up there. Yeah. So we just changed the names on it. I mean, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be the most talked about person. He has one in Jamaica too. Oh, yeah. Man, it's huge. It's huge. I think on there, on IG, he has video, the last one on Skip, in I think 2019. Okay, everybody. A good chance that I'm go back to December for the other one. Because I'm almost sure I'm not gonna be. I'm being optimistic that. Muted.
I promise I have not forgot about you guys. I was looking for my county phone, which apparently I have lost. I need to call Miss Bernie. So I'm gonna have to call her from my personal phone
Okay,
about this person.
okay.
All right.
That one kind of boy. Tell that man happy at listening to go eat. You get a fish today? Fish and rice. Okay, I don't know. I have fish and rice. Yeah, you eat fish every day. Almost every day.
Okay, I'm back. I'm ready to go with Mr. Kasaka. Okay, sir. So, um, after my conversations with the people in the sheriff's department and trying to figure out what's going on, um, there's something showing with bond amounts um, on the sheriff's office side. So it's $5,000 for the simple assault, $500 for obstructing an officer, and $1,500 for criminal trespass. I'm going to honor those amounts. What it looks like is that there may have been some type of error in the transmission of the documents back and forth. And so even though this is showing, um, there has to be supporting documentation for it. Because when I went into the system on the judge's side and looked at your court date that was set for the 15th with Judge Knights, and I printed out the documents didn't have any bond amounts on there. So something happened somewhere, but you're going to have a bond set today for those amounts. So it's going to be a total bond of $7,000. Are there any? You're going to have a preliminary hearing date. I'm going to set one, but because just so there's not anything else of August 10th, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, yes, sir.
Are you currently working?
No, sir.
Okay, you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. So this will be entered today. It's 12:45. Generally takes me about 2 hours. So it'll be about 3 o'clock that this stuff gets sent back over to the sheriff's department. So you should get out today, sir.
All right, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. All right, you're free to go back.
Okay, y'all, next two we have, you, both of y'all come up next. We gonna play out the same thing.
Okay. Would you tell me their names?
Brian Hannah. Mr. Hannah,
Lee Hemingway.
there was add-ons.
They were add-ons. Okay. All right. I need to print those out. I'm sorry.
They did not fill out any CA forms.
No, I mean, and honestly, generally they don't need to. So gentlemen, have you had prior discussions about this process as it relates to the fugitives?
Yeah, they could explain me what the process was. If I waive my extradition, then it goes a lot quicker and I get back to my state.
Okay. And tell me your name, sir.
Lee Hemingway.
Lee. You're Mr. Lee. And the other gentleman is Mr. Haney?
Mr. Hannah, Ryan.
Hannah.
H-A-N-A-H.
Okay. So, Mr. Lee and Mr. Hannah, have you both had discussions about this process? Okay, Mr. Hannah. Well, Mr. Lee, it sounds like you want to waive.
Yeah, I want to get back to the state, get this resolved, and actually find out who exactly is charging me.
Okay, and do we have the waiver of extradition documents? Okay, all right. So they'll send that to me, Mr. Lee, and I'll sign it, and that clock will begin to run today. Mr. Hannah, you're in a position where, and Mr. Lee, if you've already signed it, you can go back. You don't have to
I have one
stay
question.
here. I'm sorry.
I have one question.
Okay. What's your question?
Once I signed it, you said there's some clock, they have a certain amount of time they're coming to pick me up, or?
Yes. So from a statutory standpoint, it's up to 60 days. There's a 30-day period, and then the requesting jurisdiction can ask for an additional 30-day extension. My understanding is that things move a lot faster than that. But I can't tell you, oh, they'll be here tomorrow. They'll be here by Friday. By Monday or whatever, because I don't work in their police department, so I can't tell you when they're going to come. But my understanding is that it generally happens very quickly. If they were not to come and get you within, let's say, the first 30-day period, and they did not request an extension, then they'll let you out the front door. But the warrant doesn't go away. So you can encounter a police officer 5 minutes after being released from the front door, and the warrant is still valid, and they'll arrest you, and the whole process start all over again. So I generally tell people the best thing to do is to hire a lawyer in the requesting jurisdiction and deal with it there, because now that you're in custody, it's really not gonna. All you're gonna do is delay the time. You're just gonna be doing time here before you can actually deal with the charges in the requesting jurisdiction. And then when you get moved to the requesting jurisdiction, you're going to be doing time there because you're going to be the fresh person in the door. You're not going to be a person that's been there 6 months or whatever dealing with a charge. Um, but I mean, every case is different. I don't know the facts, the details. All I know is that there is a requesting jurisdiction that wants you. And the only thing a judge determines here, and this is important for you, Mr. Hanna, if you were to request a hearing, only thing the judge determines here would be whether you're the person named in the warrant and whether the charges actually exist. So from the charges exist standpoint, if you're charged with, shooting an alien or something, it's like, that's not a charge. Judge like, yeah, no, this is Mr. Hanna, but this isn't a charge. So we're not going to send him back. We're not here to determine your guilt or innocence. We don't care about your guilt or innocence. We're only here to determine whether you are the appropriate person named in the warrant and whether charges exist. Because we want the requesting jurisdiction to do the same for us. So there's a person that's facing charges here in Clayton County, and that person is arrested in another state. If we don't abide by the rules, they won't abide by the rules. So that's kind of where the two of you stand. So, Mr. Hanna, you have a right to demand a hearing, and at that hearing, those two things will be determined. And at the end of that hearing, if the judge determines that those two things exist, the judge will sign off. And then the clock will begin to run from that point moving forward. If you believe you are the person named in warrant and that these are true charges, you can demand or actually waive the hearing and demand that they come and get you. And that clock will start ticking the day, the 30-day, 60-day clock that I discussed. And if they don't come and get you, you will be released out the front door, like I said. So are you with me so far, Mr. Hanna?
Yes, I don't have, I'm not charged in the state of Alaska with the offense of fugitive from justice. So that's what it says here in this waiver of extradition, is that I'm charged with the offense of fugitive from justice. A fugitive from justice is somebody who was in the state at the time of the crime was committed, according to the UCA, correct? And
And that's a nomenclature that's used, and it all that basically means is that there's a warrant for your arrest out of another state. So I mean that's really what it means. Hold on one second. Yeah, it's saying that you're wanted out of Alaska by the state troopers, Fairbanks, Alaska.
yes, I knew about that, and I was actually flying to Alaska.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes,
Does
sir.
does it state who's pressing charges against me on this, in my paperwork there? Because I have no idea who's pressing charges against me.
Okay, give me a second. I think I got these as sort of like as add-on charges. It's hard to read the handwriting, but it's Brunswick County Sheriff's Department. It looks like it says Bolivia, North Carolina.
Yeah, that's the sheriff's department. But what ordered to the sheriff's department, they have to have some kind of plaintiff to file the charges. And I'm trying to find out who filed the charges at the Brazos County Sheriff's Department. Because I have no idea. My wife's been calling and she doesn't, they can't tell her that.
Hold on. I'm gonna try to see for both of you, because it normally will list the allegation or the charge, like parole violation, murder, that kind of stuff. I'm gonna see.
I'm thinking there's an existing warrant that was cleared up back in February. I had my lawyer take care of it with the district attorney. And that was taken care of back in February. So I'm wondering, is it still, hasn't been cleared through the sheriff's department? Because it was done through the district attorney.
It may not have been cleared out of the system, and to that extent, you may want to contact the lawyer to inquire about it. Because there's, especially with the COVID times that we're living in, stuff that normally would be easily cleared. It's just, I mean, stuff has fallen through the cracks. So you're a person, Mr. Lee, that you may want to just contact the lawyer. And I've been a criminal defense lawyer for more than 20 years. And I tell people all the time, you know, when you've been through situations as you've discussed, you need to keep that paperwork on you at all times. Because there's not the police officer does not have a choice. If something is showing in the system as you have a warrant, and as you can imagine, people may say anything. That was cleared up. I got a lawyer. And the police officer on the scene, they can't just take that as proof, they got to take you into custody. But if you had notarized paperwork on you and that was cleared up, and the police officer can say, oh, this is warrant number 123, and it says 123 in the computer. They can say, well, you know what, looks like this guy, everything's been cleared up. But absent that, they have no choice but to take you into custody.
I understand that.
Mr. Hannah, have you thought about what you want to do, whether you want to have a hearing, whether you want to waive? And Mr. Hannah, I'm here to answer questions. So if you have a question, ask the question. That's what I get the whole big, it's not big bucks, but that's what I get the big bucks to answer the questions.
So my understanding is that I have a warrant that was issued, actually a summons was issued in December 2019.
Okay.
I found out about this February 21st, 2020. And my friend told me that I was in Portugal, and a friend contacted me and said that I was on the news last night and that I was in Fairbanks Most Wanted. And so it's a small town, but anyway, I just don't. I know that I was flying back there to take care of this, and I know that I could have gone and picked up the summons and there would be no warrant. And I know that the governor has to request it from the governor here to extradite me. And
What I may suggest to you, Mr. Hannah, is that I don't know the whole, honestly, I don't know whatever the allegations are. You may want to, it may be in your best interest to hire a lawyer up in Fairbanks that could sit down with the district attorney. I have been on both sides of the spectrum as it relates to being a defense lawyer, where I've had clients who they went to Miami and there's a warrant for their arrest, and they tried to get on an airplane and then they got arrested. And we would hire a lawyer in Miami, and we would represent the client here in Atlanta. And we'd sit down with the district attorney's office and we'd work out basically a plan of how the client can bond out. They're charged, they bond out. We post the bond and they call down to Miami and say, release them. Because you got a bond. That's all they want, is for you that make sure that you're going to come back to court. And so the client, instead of spending, whatever days in jail waiting on the police department or the Atlanta police or whomever is the agency to come down and pick them up and bring them back for a bond hearing, we work all of that stuff out on the front end. And so the client gets out, and the client then is free to travel. And the benefit for the client is that you're not sitting in jail waiting on all of this stuff. Because when I say the 30-day period, they may come and get you on the first day, they may come get you on the 29th day. You don't know, and you're just sitting there. But if it's something that can be worked out where the client gets a lawyer and moves things along, um, using the same analogy, the district attorney's office in Fulton County is like, well, this person is serious. They've hired a lawyer. This person is willing to post a bond. We don't have to expend the money to go get that person. So it becomes a win-win with coming back to a court date. Then that's what everything is geared towards, because you're presumed innocent. No matter what you've been charged with, you're presumed innocent until you're convicted. But those are kind of the mechanisms and the small detail things that take place that, people, a lot of people sometimes don't know. Does that make sense to you, sir?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So what do you want to do, Mr. Hannah?
I'm gonna voluntarily waive my extradition proceedings.
Okay. Well, sign the waiver and they're gonna send it over to me and I'll sign off on it. But I would also encourage you, because Alaska is so far away, it's gonna be a lot of money for them to come and get you. And they may be willing to agree to
I have
your
right to go there. I was going there to take care of this. I left a country of which I am a resident to go take care of this. I did.
Yeah, and with Hartsville Airport being in Clayton County, I see a lot of that. I see a lot of those situations. So I'm not unsympathetic to what you're talking about.
I just couldn't do it in 2020 because they weren't allowing flights due to COVID.
Right.
This
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Lee, we got you taken care of.
So,
All right, sir. All right, sir. Well, both of you gentlemen, I wish you the best of luck as you're moving forward through this process. And if there are no more questions, then I will let you go.
They got one more question, y'all.
Yes.
The Customs and Border Patrol took all of my stuff and they asked me to sign a waiver to give it over to Delta Airlines. And I asked for my cell phone to be taken out and they did not process my cell phone with anything here, so I don't have cell phone numbers or phone numbers that I need to contact my lawyers in Alaska. And so I don't know, and so since I did not sign that, the lady got really mad at CBP.
No, that also is not an uncommon question that is asked, where it's like all of my numbers are my cell phone. And I tell people 411, or in your situation, call a relative up there in Alaska. And I mean, and say, hey, um, you know your lawyer's name, right?
I do, but I also only have euros in money, which this court or this jail is not processing. They can't process euros. So my money is sitting in lockbox, unable to be.
There are, well, I mean, I haven't checked the exchange rate lately, but if you have euros, you're ahead of the game. Um, as it relates to that, I don't, I, I, I don't have a sufficient answer to that issue. But I will say, you're traveling back and forth, you got to keep money on both sides.
Yeah, they didn't, I also requested that CBP give me my Visa cards out of my wallet, and they didn't get those either. So I don't have any.
Are you saying they took U.S. cash?
They took
They took all your stuff.
they took all my stuff.
Okay.
You keeping your cash on you, and in my bag was my Visa cards. And so those US cards were US currency, which I could use here. But that they took those, and so I don't know where those are at, since I didn't send that form giving them all.
What I'll say to you, Mr. Hannah, is that and I'm actually I'm kind of guessing at this point, but because you are not facing federal charges with the whole thing of signing stuff over to Delta and all of that kind of stuff, is that they were trying to wash their hands of the whole situation. So good thing is that Delta is a corporation with deep pockets, and if they lost your stuff or somehow kind of mismanage your stuff, you're in a very good situation of getting it back, or getting compensated for.
Well, Your Honor, I'm gonna let you go. I'm feeling very sick, so I'm gonna let you go.
Okay, well, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
You can go back. Okay, y'all, that's it for today.
All right, Deputy Cox. You know what? I'm just gonna wait. Hold on.